there, welcome back to the table. Let's continue some Frosthaven here. So I always try to mentally remind myself, okay, where was I? What was I doing? What's my goal? One of the things I was missing a skeleton card because there's two skeletons currently active, and that's here and here. So I did go fetch that off camera. I'm reminding myself that this skeleton here actually has strength, and this one, the drifter, has regen, so we will take care of that. And then, of course, we're ready to basically start a new round, is where we left off. And let's go ahead and get going. The other thing I also reminded myself is I gotta be careful, because I'm being very cute. Cute is the right word. I try to keep my longevity going, meaning, as I explained before, I do long rests, things like that. But in the process, I'm getting slaughtered. These archers are deadly, and they've always been deadly, even in Gloomhaven, and I'm underestimating them at the moment. And I really do need to take them down. Like, letting them continue to live is not in the cards, pun intended. So that's one of the key things I gotta resolve here. Is I gotta make sure that we gotta at least take down those two elites. I mean, let the 2 out of the 3 need to go down. How about that? The next thing is, obviously I keep forgetting everybody's retirement goals. I need Algok's guards for the Blink Blade, which I don't have, so that's still a problem. Not that I want to retire him real quickly, but, it's just part of the game. Got to keep track of it. So, beyond that, I did receive some feedback, but it was mostly from the last mission. They felt that, for example, one of the enemies should have been attacking the same guard instead of dividing. And they're probably right. I didn't bother going back and looking at the old video. I think we're doing it right now. So, just a reminder, the way focus works when the enemy or the summons move is, for example, they're going to focus on not just whoever's closest, but whoever is closest in terms of movement points. So let's say that this rock was also here. Like, there was a rock on both of these spaces. This guy, even though he's 2 spaces away, and this one is also 2 spaces away, this one would be the focus because the walk around would get to this guy quicker, like the movement points. It'd be less movement points to get to that one. So the first priority and focus is whoever has the least movement points. Then, and only then, like if there was 2 of them within 3 spaces, like in this case, it's 1 movement point to get to both of them. Then it's okay, which one's closer? Well, now they're both equidistant, so then the third priority is which one goes first in initiative. And so the feedback was that I wasn't using the first in initiative, and I was causing the town guards to divide up the attacks between them instead of just one of the town guards should have just gotten beat up to death. So they're probably right. I didn't go back and check, but I just wanted to acknowledge that. I think another thing to say, and it's not a defensive thing at all, but when you play this game, and I know a lot of people keep commenting on forums, etc., they talk about well, this game is really overwhelming, or it's a lot to absorb, and it sort of is. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that I played a whole campaign of Gloomhaven several times, I actually would struggle a lot with this. And that's not to say that when Gloomhaven first came out, we weren't struggling with that. I had a buddy that was helping me. That was always helpful. We were constantly checking Board Game Geek and updating how we did things. And it wasn't until the Steam app came out that I even corrected some stuff there, because I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't think it worked that way. And then, of course, people were responding and saying, yeah, it's always been that way, Jeff. What are you smoking? So, I think one of the things, though, I want to say is just enjoy yourself. It's a solitaire game if you're playing it by yourself. That's Captain Obvious, of course, but just enjoy. Like, if you got something wrong, don't lose sleep over it. And I got something wrong, and I got, viewers watching me. And I'm not losing sleep over it. And that's, I guess, that's my recommendation with any solitaire game. I mean, I know that people want to play according to the spirit of the rules, and you only enjoy the game if you play it the way the designer intended, and you want to be as true and accurate to that as possible. I think those are all noble attributes to have, and I'm not recommending at all that you just eschew that and throw it out the window. I'm just saying though that if you realize you did something wrong, don't beat yourself up. There's so many scenarios. There's over 100 plus scenarios. So if I screwed up scenario one, that's not going to make a great impact on this game. Okay, let's get to the action. All right, so I'm going to start with the shadow player in the back. The skeletons, if they were to activate, would be able to go 1-2. This one would actually be able to attack, but the other one in the back would not. But what that means then is I want to go low. Also, I'm going to look at how my health doing here. The Bone Shaper is full health. The Banner Spear is damaged. So, like, healing ourselves is not necessarily a thing, but this one down here maybe is good, right? I get to move 2 spaces, and one of my summons moves 2 spaces. So let's try an 18, right? That'll let me go early. Now this one here would allow my summons to do an attack and then curse, which I think is excellent because I got 2 summons on the board, so this gets done twice. I want to hold on to it though, but I very much want to try. I'm looking at the magic. There's no magic on the board at the moment. I don't think we have to necessarily worry about... But what I think I actually want to do is I'm either going to summon the Wraith, which has a shield. It only does 1 damage in its attack, but, it does put darkness on the board. It's just another summon that's out there to... Now, the problem with the Wraith is once it dies, it's lost. Whereas when the skeleton dies, I get it back. So I can summon skeletons until my heart's content. The other thing about the Wraith is it doesn't cost me hit points. This one does. So since I'm at full health, I think what I want to do, and like this is an awesome one too, like we curse the enemy, and then one of our summons adjacent to the enemy gets to attack it. And it puts darkness on the board. I mean, it's pretty nice. Oh, which one should I do? Okay, so I'm debating between this one here, because it's a nice high number paired with a low number, right? That's a perfect thing to do. And it'll allow one of my summons to attack either for the first time or again. So that's the first option. The other one is just to simply put another skeleton out there, which works. I mean, it would work. It's a nice high number as well. The bottom piece is awesome. I get to curse 2 enemies 2 spaces away. I'm not at a point to be able to do that. But even if I were not to summon the skeleton, that's a nice little doohickey. I would love to get that 3rd skeleton out there, but I feel like they're clogging up the area a bit, and I'm going to go with the curse. Let's get the curse going. And I think I could have been happy either way, with either option. But this will get more damage going, and I'm going to go with that. So we're going to put an 18 on top. So I'm just going to reach over to the app here and punch in 18 off camera, and boom. Bone Shaper is ready. Okay, so now we're going to move to the Banner Spear. Banner Spear took a bit of hit. We got this kind of formation. Like I said, there's nothing on the board, so I could do like a wind thing. This is a range attack. Not a bad option. Let's see, could I do this? Not really. That one's possible. So if I do combined effort, I can go up and hit that archer. What's the archer health looking like? Because I know we hit a few of them. Oh my gosh, they're almost all full health. But archer number 4, this one, is at 5 hit points. This one has a full 8 hit points, and this one has 5. So we got a lot to do, Scooby-Doo. So the nice thing about the javelin is I don't have to move, and I put wind on the board, which then sets me up to do this one the next turn, which will be a 3 damage attack with victory points, or experience points, and then anybody attacking me will be disadvantaged. That's not a bad thing. Now these banners are good. This one adds +1 attack to all attacks every turn. The problem with the banner is it doesn't move, as you can see. So when I stick a banner down, it'll stay there for the rest of the game, but it's just, it's only going to last for so long. Now this is a great spot for a banner because there's a lot going on, but we have one more room to open, and the banner is also a burn card, so you know my philosophy there. I've beaten that dead horse, haven't I? So this one's a 32, and it'll wound the archer. For 3 damage, it still gives me a victory point, which is nice, and I keep saying victory point, I apologize. It is experience points, not victory points. So then what would I do for the bottom? See, look at this. This only applies to range attacks. And so this would stay active until the end of my turn, of course. It's a nice early go, but then I'm giving up the wind, which I think I'm okay with. So let's do a 2 shield against range attacks. That's perfect. Oh, but then I don't move. Yeah. So then we'll do both of these together, although I'm using 2 low numbers there. Not a big fan of that, but I am running out of cards here. So we'll do these 2 together. This wind is not going to be as helpful because I'm losing the wind card, but I'm going to go ahead and do a 15. Alright, so where are you at? Banner Spear, 15. Okay, next up is Blink Blade. We have Fast available. Well, this is a beautiful one right here. I definitely want to do that. Yeah, I mean, without even looking at the other ones, I want to do a double hit. I would like to go quicker than 45, but not quicker than the Banner Spear. Well, actually, the Banner Spear is not moving, so actually this is perfect. Yeah, I want to do this for sure. And then on the bottom, I need to move 1 space. So this one is nice, but then the Banner Spear would also suffer a wound. But I do like it still. It's not a bad one. And then this one here, for -1 time, I can push 3... Oh, 1 space away. Okay, that's a pretty cool one. I didn't even realize that. Heal 2 self, and then put Regenerate on. It doesn't need to heal yet. This is a nice one that attacks at a range of 2. But remember, I need to move 1 space. I need to at least get 1 movement point in. So I think I actually will do this one. So that's a 36. So let's go ahead and punch that in. Alright, and then before I forget, I'm going to take one of the time cards off, tokens, because it's actually been going through my mind, did I go fast last time? And I'm actually at 0 time tokens right now. That is the concern, because I actually think that is the case. But I don't have it done, and I don't have the ability to go back and look at the video at the moment. And then also the card, right here is the card that lets me gain 2 time tokens. I do have a card that lets me do that, but it's a burn card. Yeah, I don't necessarily want to do that. I guess we'll just have to go slow next time. No, I'm sorry. Currently, I still have 1 more fast token. So, my apologies if I forgot to remove that fast token. It's been over 24 hours since we last recorded. In fact, it's almost been 48 hours. It's been almost 2 days. So my memory is just not good, but there's something in the back of my mind telling me that I should have done that, but I might be wrong. Okay. Then the Drifter. So we already lost our combat objective because I need to use basic actions with the Drifter to do some of this stuff. But with that being said, the Drifter is right next to the Scout. So we don't necessarily have to move. but we can. Or I can put some more of these persistent ability things out. Um, so next 6 sources of damage, you get a shield. Here, if next 6 that target you perform by enemies within range 2, I gain Retaliate 2, and it's a range 2 Retaliate. That's actually really good. Should I put that? That's a third one I'm putting into play. And that means it's yet another card that I'm not using to stay alive. That's the problem, is you put all these cards down. Okay, so we do that. Yeah, we can do Bloodletting, a nice high damage attack. Yeah, we'll do that. And what numbers are we using? Oh, they're both high numbers. We'll do 65. Okay, so if I bring this back over here, get the glare out of the way, we're going to go ahead and draw the cards. And you'll see that the priest is going really late. The scalp goes dead last. There is no guard, but there's just cards for it in case there was. And then all the way up here, the archers are actually going first. This is brutal, because my thing where I was going to shield myself against the archery attacks is useless. Okay, so let's just move the camera up so you can see. So they're going to move 1 space, and then they're going to do a 2 or 3 damage attack, and then create a trap, which ruins our plans even more. So, yeah. Not cool, not cool, not cool. Okay, this one will not move at all, because he doesn't have disadvantage. Higher up on the advantage, or on the time slot, initiative, is the Banner Spear. So, not only am I not going to get to enjoy the shield, but I'm going to get attacked. And so the attack is for 3 damage. So we're going to go ahead and you can see here. Let's get that glare out of the way. I know that glare came back. Alright, here we go. So it's a 0 damage attack. So, I'm sorry, it's a 0 bonus. So it's a full 3 damage to the Banner Spear. So the Banner Spear is at 6 health and now dropped to 3 health. And if he takes any more damage, or she takes any more damage, she's going to lose her combat objective, because she has to drop below half her hit point. Oh, no, she already did. She lost her combat objective, unless she wants to block it, and I don't want to block it. So combat objective stated that she can't go below half her health. Well, her health is 10, so she's down to 3. And unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to block some damage here, because I still got 2 more archers to go. Alright, so this archer creates a trap, which would go right here. Next up is this archer, who, amazingly enough, will not target this one, is going to target that one, but can't move away, because the trap's in the way, other stuff is in the way. So we'll attack Blink Blade with a disadvantage. So here we go, first attack. Second one. Alright, so disadvantage gives it a 0. So these are, whoops. If I go back up, it is a elite, so it's 3 damage attack. And there's nowhere to place a trap, so there's no trap placed by that one. And Blink Blade takes 3 damage. I like this app, but at the same time, I don't. Alright, here we go. 3 damage to Blink Blade. Okay, next up is the regular archer, which will attack, not Blink Blade, the Banner Spear. Sorry, I'm having a hard time remembering or coming up with names here. So here we go. Thankfully we got a -1, so that's 2 damage to Banner Spear, And the banner spear is down to 1 single health, but survived it. And what's crazy is this one, they're going to place a trap in an adjacent empty hex closest to an enemy. So in this case, there are empty hexes, and so this is 2 spaces away from an enemy, whereas that's 3. So it would go right here. Alright, well that genuinely ruined our plans. So now it's the Banner Spear's turn, and I didn't take any healing anything. And I'm going to put a shield 2, and it only applies to range attacks, which would have been fantastic against this attack. I made the right call, but look at that. My initiative was 15, theirs was 14. Alright, so I'm going to put wind on the board and do 3 damage attack against one of the targets. I'll pick that in a second. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use my move and move 2 spaces away. Because I just can't afford to die at this point. So, which one am I going to hit is the question. So let's bring this list up. And there you can see I have, man, I'm sorry, that glare is just brutal. Here we go. So we got full damage, full health, and then partial. So I think what I want to do, it's a 3 damage attack, so I'm going to go after the guy who's already wounded, number 4 here. So let's go ahead and do that, and it's the Banner Spear. So I'm going to draw a card. I drew a +0, so we did exactly 3 damage. That's the thing. I mean, these guys have so much health, it's not even funny. And that is complete. And then I just need to move away. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move 1 space away, which allows, I mean, Blink Blade's going to take all the damage now, but that's what I must do. I mean, there's no other way around this. Okay, next up, after the Banner Spear, is the Bone Shaper. So the skeletons get to go. So this one will go 1, 2, and attack. And then this one would just move 1 in the back there. And so we're going to be attacking this Scout number 3. And the Bone Shaper combat deck drew a +1, which is excellent. So now we just did 3 damage against the Scout. And so let's bring the camera over here, and yeah, look at that, no glare. I'm going to have to learn to keep it here. And the Scout, whoops, has 10 health. So 3 damage though is pretty good. We'll take it. Alright, so now let's do our cards. So the cards are, I get to move 2, and a summon will move 2, and that's what I'm going to do. So for me to move 2, what's crazy is I can only move 1 because the skeleton's in the way. So that was sort of crappy. And then if I make this skeleton move 2, which is what I wanted to do, I guess this one can still do attacks. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to force this skeleton to move 2, just so he gets further into the room and gets out of my way. And then we're going to do Eternal Torment. So we're going to curse the Scout, which is 5 spaces away. And I do have line of sight through the door, just barely. And then we're going to grant one of your summons adjacent to the target a +0 attack, and we're going to put Night on the board. So Night goes on the board, and then Wind was also supposed to go on the board, so I just fixed that. Alright, so a +0. Well, first of all, we're going to curse them, but we could do both at the same time. Here's the +0 attack. So that's a skeleton that just did 2 damage to the Scout, which is still at 5 health. And then for the monster deck, we just curse them, so I'm going to add a curse to the deck. I think one thing that this has also taught me is when I added a curse to the deck, I think we would shuffle all the discards. But in this case, it didn't. It just shuffled the what's left in the shuffle pile, and it sort of makes sense. I don't know why we never did it that way. But okay. That is it. Not much else to do there. Alright, next. After the Bone Shaper is the Priest. So let's go see what the Priest is up to. And the Priest is going to, remember it's not elite, it's going to move 2 spaces and heal somebody 3 spaces away. And that's perfect. So the Priest doesn't have to move. We have this target and this target. Now both of them need to be healed. I wonder if we get to decide, or is it going to be based on focus? Oh crap. Alright, well, if we would have paid attention, and we had this as knowledge, this was public knowledge, I could have moved back 1 more space, and that would have made sure that I got focus. Because by moving back only 1 space, the focus would have gone onto him, and he would have been healed. I don't want him to be healed, I want the Banner Spear to be healed, so he's going to do a 3 damage heal on the Banner Spear. And we knew that. We had the ability to move back 2 spaces, and we knew that he had a heal command. This is one of the challenges of being solo, and also recording. Is, you know, you're trying to rush, and you're not always paying attention to all the information. So, anyways, all I'm trying to say is that's an easy retcon, and a very appropriate one. So 1, 2, 3 health to the Banner Spear. Banner Spear is back up to 4. And that was a great use of the Priest at the right time, because I needed that bad. Okay, but the Priest turn is over. Didn't really do much beyond that. So Blinkblade is up. Blinkblade has 5 of 8 health. I suddenly do not need to be able to move. So my... I need to get Blinkblade the wing shoes, because I keep, every time I take my turn, I want to be able to go over the enemy, and I can't. And the wing shoes would have allowed me to do that. I do have this thing that lets me push somebody 3 spaces away. And it's everybody that I'm adjacent to. And that's the part that hurts. So, do I step on this trap and take 3 damage? Because that's what would happen if I step on that trap. And I'm going to take 3 damage so I can do this attack on 2 of them. And then I can make all allies and enemies suffer 1 and then push for a time token, which I have, because we just had that discussion. Holy crap, I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I am. I'm going to step on that trap and take 3 damage. So the Blinkblade Rapture is down to 2 health. Okay, so by doing that movement point, all adjacent allies and enemies suffer 1 damage. So now all 3 archers take 1 damage. So we come back up. This one goes to 7. This one goes to 4. And this one goes to 1. Alright. But before my move is over, I am going to spend that time token and push enemies up to 3 spaces away. I can target all enemies that are 1 space away from me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this one into the trap, because that is 1 space away from me. There's a whole range of areas I could have chosen. So number 2 is going to take 3 more damage. So I took 3 damage, so number 2 could take 3 damage, but number 2 is still alive with 1 health, unfortunately. And then last but not least, we're going to do this, where we're going to do a 3 damage attack against the 2 elite archers. And I do gain an experience point for that, so let me get that in. That puts me to 2, and I'm just looking over at... Did I gain experience for anything else that I did? No. No. Okay, there were some options where I could have, but yeah, I chose not to. So I gained my 1 experience point, and like I said, it's a 3 damage attack against 2 targets, and it's going to be these two. So I'm low in health, but this is, so far, a good plan until I get hit later. Alright, we're going to go after archer number 4, and I got a +1. That's the wrong archer to get the +1 against. Archer number 4 is sitting on 1 health, so archer number 4 dies. Alright, so we got one. And then the loot drops. Archer number 1. Oh my gosh, we had advantage, so this would have been with the first attack. So I get to discard that. Okay, now archer number 1. Here's the first one. And then here's the second one. Oh, daddy, right there. Okay, so that means I'm going to have to reshuffle here. But archer number 1 has 7 health, and this was a 3 damage attack. Oh my gosh, I just did 6 damage, but it's not enough to kill it. It's like I'm complaining, but I am not complaining. 6 damage is really good at this level. So I'm just shuffling his deck. He is low in health, but he really did a lot of damage to these guys, which was the goal. And I did not kill all 3 of them. I only killed 1. These guys are actually hard to kill. They got a lot of hit points, these Algox. They don't have a lot of, like, you know, like with the Gloomhaven, there were slimes that were painful. You know, there's certain creatures that just annoyed you. These aren't those. It's just, they're just really high hit point, you know, enemies. Okay, so now we get to the Drifter. So he's next, and he has Regenerate. So we're going to go ahead and generate 1 more health for him. And the Drifter is already next to the Scout. So I could have done this if I wanted to. This one lets me, if I killed an enemy with the attack ability, move the character token on one of my abilities backwards 1. So this could turn into a 5 damage attack. Or I could do a 3 damage attack and a 3 damage attack, because I can move my persistence tokens twice, right, and add +2 to every melee attack. So I could make this a 3 and 3. But the Scout here, it'd be nice to kill him outright, and he has 5 health. So I am going to go ahead and just add 2 to this one and make it a 5 health. Yes. So I'm going to move the experience token by 1. That does not gain me any experience points, but this is going to be a 5 damage attack. And I'm going to draw his card. And there we go. We got a +1. That's more than enough to kill the Scout, which I got to remember, some people have shields and stuff, but that's not the case here. And the Scout is dead. And the ability says, if you killed an enemy with the attack ability, move the character token on one of your persistent abilities backwards by 1. Now, what you want to do is you want to be doing it backwards over the part where you get an extra experience point. But you also don't want the card to burn, you know, because you're at the end. So I am going to move the attack one back by 1, even though that means I'm not going to get experience again. There was nothing else to move backwards, is really what I'm trying to say. And then I am going to create this new one and put this Retaliate one in. So now we got 3 active ones going on. And the mastery for this guy does require you to have like all of these active at once. And then like they never go away because you constantly bring them backwards. It's a lot of cuteness to pull off. I don't know how excited I am. Like, I really like this character. I'm starting to like it a lot. But I like +2 movement and +2 attack. Like, if you just gave me those 2, I would have been totally happy with this character. I don't need all this other stuff. But anyways, I'm trying to figure out where I put the tokens for this guy. Oops, there's some tokens over here. I found the banner spear, blink blade. Here we go. See, I'm punching them out as I'm using them. So, we got one more. Good. Alright, the scout would have gone, but it's now dead. So, let's get it off the board here. Let's not forget our loot token. We move on to another round. So I'm going to go ahead and end the round. And I still need to go before those archers. If I do, all is right with the world. But the problem is Blinkblade doesn't have any fast time tokens anymore. And the skeletons are far away. So how do I do this? The other way to do it is just to heal somebody. So this heals myself. This one lets me heal an ally within 3 spaces. I like that. And I do have Knight on the board, so I can heal for 2 more. Ooh, yes. We're going to do that one. And then I do need to move some serious spaces. 3 is perfect, in fact. So I'm going to move 3 spaces. Unfortunately, I'm using 2 of my low numbers. I could... Yeah, we'll do this. So I'm going to punch in 26. And I need to pause real quick. Okay, I was gone for a long time and totally forgot what I was doing here, but if I remember correctly, I want to move 3 spaces and then heal an ally. So that makes sense. Alright, so here's the banner. I move far away so I could heal. So then it becomes a matter of, can I, move, grant 2 allies within 2. That would work on the skeletons. I can move the skeletons forward. That's actually not a bad idea. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do a throw attack. So we can kill, so that's an 18 and a 32. And I only have 1 card left, so that means I'm going to have to rest soon. The Banner Spear is running out of cards fast. That's for sure. We got 3 cards burned with the Banner Spear. I'm trying to remember why. I mean, I know 1 from the rest. We must have taken damage and had to mitigate it. And then, of course, the flamethrower person, or the torchbearer. Okay, getting to this dude. Where is he? He's back there. He needs to move 1, 2, 3, 4. But remember, that makes that attractive, but I don't need to necessarily use it because I don't need to heal self. So let's save on that. Oh, look at that. He can heal somebody, but then he doesn't move. We'll do this for the move. It's a 66, so not the greatest in the world. And then on the top, we can... That's a melee attack, but then he can loot. We'll try it. It's really high numbers for this one. And now the Blink Blade, who has to go slow. So we can go 3, and then all allies add +1. That move from a hex adjacent, yeah, that's not going to work. That's a good one for the first turn of the game. This is an excellent one if you're on fast. That heals, but it's a burn. That one heals everybody within one space. There's nobody next to him. I actually like, well, this top one's nice, but it's nicer, I guess, if you're fast. Oh, there's no harm in this one. Look at that. Heal 2 self, and then regenerate. This one, of course, gain 2 time, but I don't want to burn yet, so... Okay, we'll go ahead and do that. That's a 99. Ay, ay, ay. This one's a weird one. Just loot. That's a cool one, but that's even cooler with the range. I actually like this one. So I'm not going to get the experience points here, but it's a 3 damage attack, and it's only... Well, no, I don't like the burn. Oh, I mean, there is a time where you got to start using burns. I understand, and I don't want you guys to get frustrated, but that time is not now. I think I'm going to do this one then, and it'll muddle me, but we'll go ahead and do that. Alright, so we are done. So let's get some numbers in. We got the Blink Blade coming in at 47. And then the Drifter is 66. And then the Banner Spear is 18. Do I really want the Banner Spear to go that early? Yes. Alright, so then we're going to go ahead and draw cards. And you can see it's the Banner Spear, then the Priest, and the Priest is healing again. And then the Archer goes really, the Drifter is the only one that goes after the Archers. So we're going to have a lot of opportunity to go here. So here we go. Banner Spear is first. The Priest is actually going to heal again. It would have been nice actually if the Banner Spear went after the Priest, but that's not the case here. So what we're going to do is we're going to move 2 spaces. 1, 2. I'm going to move up to here. So that way both of these guys are within range. Because what it says is then I can grant 2 allies within range 2 a movement of 2. So that's the idea. So this guy is going to go 1, 2, and 1, 2. Now, when you grant them movement, you get to move them. So it doesn't necessarily mean they have to, move based on focus. So we got some skeletons within range. And then here I could do a range 4 attack for 2 damage. And it is going to put light on the board. There it is. Alright, so I don't think that does me a lick of good, but anyways, a 2 damage attack, range 4. Alright, so we have the Archer here. This one is down to... They're both down to 1 health. So who am I going to attack? Well, I'm going to attack this one here because he's further away. That's why I'm going to do it. So we have the range to hit him, and I drew that. I can't believe it. Come on. Or no, I have advantage. Yes. I almost forgot I have advantage. I was getting so sad. The sadness on my face was overwhelming. There we go. 2 damage attack kills him. And, oh my gosh. See, I don't know if your games at home are like this, but this game just has moments. Moments like this one, where you have this range of emotions that you just went through. And that to me is a fun game. I can't express it enough. Like, this was fun. It was fun to be overwhelmed with sadness and grief and then realize, oh, I forgot I have advantage. Yes. I get to ignore you, you nasty null biter. So anyways, There you go. Um, we got one down, man down, man down, and another loot token drops. Alright, that is the end of Banner Spear's turn, which was quite productive actually. Then, next up is the Priest. Now, the Priest is going to move 2 spaces. Now, here's the problem. Because the Priest is healing, the focus is going to be on this one, because that's the closest person who needs to be healed. And the reason I say that is because the Drifter has 9 out of 10 health. Now, the part that stinks about this is the Drifter has Regenerate, so the Drifter is going to heal no matter what, and be at full health. And these other characters need the health much more badly, but because the Drifter is closer, the Priest still won't move, and is going to heal the Drifter to full health. So, I mean, I guess I can't complain. I mean, I am being healed. It's just, there was so many better applications of this. Like, I would have liked to have moved it towards, the door or something, right? But none of that happens. Okay, moving on. Priest's turn is over. Next up is the Bone Shaper. So now the skeletons get to go. So this is where it gets interesting. This one here would go first, because he's number 1. And he wants to move here, but can't. So he will move 1 space and then have to stop. Now this one, ideally should move to here, but what he's going to do instead is move on top of the loot, which you don't want because skeletons can't loot. However, it is going to do a 2 damage attack and very likely kill this archer, and it does. So that's excellent, and the archer is gone. So what makes that great is we don't have any fear of being hit by the enemy right now. Alright, so now the Bone Shaper hasn't even gone yet. So now let's see, we were going to move 3 spaces, and if I bring the camera back up again, that 3 spaces is going to be 1, 2, 3, and we're going to grab that loot right there. So I'm going to just give her that token, and I'm going to click on the app here and give her a loot. Alright, so that's step 1. Step 2 is we're going to heal an ally within 3 spaces, and we're going to consume the night, which there is night on the app. There is night on the board, so we're going to consume it, and the night will give us another +2. So that's going to be 2, 4 health, and then gain an experience point. So that is excellent. And the 4 health we're going to give to... we can give it to Blinkblade. No, was he healing himself? He was. He was healing himself by 2. Blinkblade has 4 overall damage. The Banner Spear... yeah, we're going to heal the Banner Spear. 1, 2, 3, 4. So Banner Spear is up to 6 health. And then the Bone Shaper gains an experience point for that. So it's up to 3. Alright, that is done. So Bone Shaper turn is over. Next up is Blinkblade, who, as we said, is going to heal to self and then give himself regenerate. Now, one thing I just realized I forgot, and this is the problem with the app, is this skeleton right here had strength. That's long gone, but at one point, if that skeleton would have attacked somebody, they would have actually had advantage. But it's too late to resolve that. Alright, so Blinkblade, Mr. Rapture, is going to gain 2 health, and then we're going to give him regenerate. So that means he'll hopefully get some more health as we go. And then this part here, I can choose to just do for a basic action, because since I don't need to do an attack, I don't need to muddle myself. Muddle, by the way, gives you disadvantage on the next turn. So I'm just going to do nothing with that card, and that's good. That's the end of the turn there. The archers would get to go, but neener, there's no archers in the game. Oh crap, I just realized. I I accidentally killed the priest. So yeah, it's full health. Full health priest. It's the archers that died. 1 and 2. There we go. Now it's the drifter's turn. So the drifter's way in the back. We got a move 2 here, which we're going to use this token to make it a move 4. And that gives me an experience point. So drifter goes up 1 on the experience track and gets 4 movement points. So let's see. 1, 2, 3. Oh gosh, I wanted to move 1 more. Yeah, that's all the better I can do. And so then I'm going to move the character token on one of my persistent slots backwards. So in this case, I'm going to move the attack one backwards. And yeah, it turns over. And then up here, I have an attack that doesn't do anything, but the loot 1 would have been better if I was 1 more step ahead, but the skeleton was in the way. But that's what happens sometimes. You get in your own way. And so I at least looted 1 of them, and it's the one that the skeleton was sitting on top of. And Mr. Drifter has a second loot. And actually, I missed 1 somewhere because I actually have 3 in his possession, so I'm going to give him a 3rd one. So he has 3. Oh, it shows the Blink Blade having 2, and I only show the Blink Blade having 1. That's the issue. So I'm going to reduce that again. So I had 3 tokens in his play area, but I show Blinkblade having 2 on the app, and I only had 1 in Blinkblade's play area, so I must have just misplaced it. Bone Shaper I show having 2, and yes, I see 2. And then the Banner Spear should have 1. There we go. Yep, 1. So, okay. The app is helpful. I still think the tactile pieces are nice, but the game does move quicker. Alright, we're at the end of the round, so I'm going to go ahead and hit end round here. And there's no enemies left on the board, so we just got to get to this door and unlock whatever's next. So let's do that. And of course we're at a spot where we're going to be needing to rest soon with some of our characters. So that's been the trend, right? First tile, the moment we open the door, we have rest phase. Second tile, open the door, rest phase. But I actually have 2 more turns left with this character. I think I want to get the Wraith out. So just get another character going so we can swarm people. This is always awesome, but there's no enemies to curse. And then of course this one is fantastic if, I need 3 summons on the board. The other thing I can do is get another skeleton out. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'll get the skeleton out, and I'm going to do a move 4. Like that. So we'll do both of those, and then the next turn we'll get the Wraith out and do something. Who knows? Another move of some kind. Okay, so that would be a 43. I'm okay with going later, so we're going to make it a 71. Because we want enemies on the board before they take their turn, or otherwise they're going to move backwards towards me, and I don't want that. Okay, so that's 71. Blinkblade has a fast time token. Blinkblade has 1 more turn and then needs to rest. So I don't necessarily need to go fast. This is a nice one. I could go fast and then loot. What an interesting one that is. And then I can move here on the bottom. Like this one heals everybody around. Ooh. That's actually pretty good. Of course, the only people around them are the skeletons and the drifter. Yeah, I like it, but it'll heal himself too, which that part isn't bad. We'll take the 4 movement so we can open the door, I think. And I'm going to go slow. So, let's see. She's going at 71. I'll go at 49. Gotta get that door open before Bone Shaper goes. Alright, the Drifter is getting up there and could also possibly open the door. This is a nice one. This will move me 5 spaces and move something back by 1. I like it. And it's a 23, so I may not need the Blink Blade to open a door. So I could probably rethink the Blink Blade one. And I am going to rethink the Blink Blade one. I'm going to give the Blink Blade the one that heals himself. So we'll do that instead. So Blink Blade is now an 82. And you are allowed to do this. The rules actually address this, because if you're playing by yourself, you have an advantage, because I'm able to coordinate my numbers like this. And you're supposed to like do this formula where, so the dungeon might actually be a level higher. It changes the formula for calculating what level the enemy is. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's always just, because this is a level 1 dungeon, because I have all level 1 enemies. I still think it would be a level 1 dungeon in this case, but at some point I would move to a level 2 dungeon, even though the regular game formula doesn't allow it. I'd have to look up the formula again to tell you exactly how that works. I've, to be quite honest, never cared. You just play at whatever level you're comfortable, because the game rewards you with more experience points if you play higher level dungeons. And I could be a level 1 character. We could just say, hey, we're going to play level 10 dungeon, or whatever the levels are. Alright, so we're doing the 3 movements. So I'm sitting here looking at the bottom, but I need to be looking at the top actually. So this is just a 1 damage attack that poisons somebody. It's a ranged attack, and I don't have any of those little movement cursors to do ranged attack on anything. But at the same time, I don't have a guarantee that I'm going to be near anybody. So I could do one of 2 things. I could do a shield and retaliate, which basically I'm going to just open the door and just turn into, meat shield. But I think I'm going to do this one. It is a range attack, but it lets me move something backwards. So I'll go ahead and do that, and we'll make this a 23. Okay, and then the Banner Spear actually has to rest now, because there's no cards left in her hand. So she's going to long rest, so we're going to go ahead and put her at 99. And the long rest is necessary, because I think the Banner Spear is running out of cards. So Banner Spear only has 10 to begin with. Another thing I've been meaning to say, and I don't mean to go on a rant here, because it's not a rant per se, Gloomhaven had stamina potions. And one of the tricks to Gloomhaven is to use those stamina potions. Like, that is gold. You buy those first before you buy any other equipment. And then when you get the bigger stamina potions, it's even better, right? They're not in this game. There are no stamina potions, at least so far. And I did notice that the characters have a higher hand, like higher number of cards. If you remember in Gloomhaven, the rat thief, or the spellcaster, I can't remember the name of the spellcaster, but I'm talking about the starting characters. One of them literally only has 6 cards in her hand. Now, she has the ability to bring back burned cards, which is very cool. So you burn a bunch of cards, and then she has the ability to bring them all back. So she can make those 6 cards last longer, but 6 is a really tight and low amount of cards. These guys, Banner Spear has 10, the Bone Shaper has 12, Drifter has 12, and Blink Blade has 10. So there's a lot more cards with these people. So it's almost like they had, what am I trying to say? It's almost like they do have stamina potions. That's what I'm getting at. Okay, so let's get this thing opened here. I'm going to go ahead and draw cards, which there aren't any to draw, but we'll draw them anyways. And, oh yeah, actually the priest goes first, according to this. So the priest is going to move 2 spaces and then try to attack something, which it can't. Now you might be saying, hey, there's no focus, but if you remember, one of the rules of this scenario is the moment that everybody's dead, the priest focuses on this door. So the 2 movement is finally going to happen, and it's the priest moving towards the door. Obviously, it's not going to attack the door. So that's done. Next up is the drifter, and I was going to move this 1 space over and get an extra 2 movement points. So now we're going 5, and then I get to move something backwards. So let's do that. And the drifter is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to open that door, and before I go through all those actions, I'm going to move something backwards, and it's going to be the movement 1 I just did. And then just remember, I am going to have a potential attack card, and the way this door is going to open, it's actually going to take spots here. So what I'm going to do is going to move some stuff around. This tile in the back is not needed anymore. So we got all these dead guys. I'll just shove off to the side. These aren't needed. This door is not needed. So we're just going to take this tile and just get rid of it. And I'm going to back this up way back here. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. So now we're there, and this is our scenario. Gives us more room. And of course that's going to give me glare. Of course, I got my Tatooine thing going on again. Alright. So we'll do that, and let me pause and get everything going here for the next. Alright, so there you have it. It's set up here. It's basically it's 4 scouts. 2 of them are elite, and then 1 elite guard. And then there's this ice over here, which we're going to learn about in a second.
Finally, you make it inside the mountain, but your victory is short-lived. Just past the cave opening huddles another group of defenders, muscle-bound Orgoks with icy fists. They're gathered in a circle, positioned like a lord's private guard around some person of value. Except all they seem to be protecting is an ice-covered gap in the floor.
They guard the Sky Hall.
Your Orgok's companion whispers.
We must break through that barrier if we are to end this fight.
The guards, noticing your approach, turn and shout.
You cannot pass, intruders. The Sky Hall is closed to your kind.
They move quickly, uncrossing their arms and stepping forward. Your body is worn, and your lungs still burn from the climb, while these guards are fresh to the battle, wholly rested and prepared to brawl. But it matters little. There is no other way forward.
Alright, so you got the lay of the land there, and then the only special rule for this is the ice sheet, which is this little thing here is the ice sheet, and you can see it there on the map. It has CX L plus 2 hit points. So I think CX is the number of characters times the X is just times, which is interesting because, you know, in the engineering field you don't do that X. The parentheses is an implied, and so it's sometimes hard to read. You know, I guess other people have other notations, but yes, characters times L plus 2, which is the level. So it's level 1 plus 2, so 4 times 3 hit points. So the ice sheet has 12 hit points. And it's an enemy to both you and the priest, and an ally to everybody else. So our little priest who's way behind, basically that's our mission, is to destroy this ice sheet. And how do we know that? Obviously it told us that. There's no other way forward. And oh yeah, the scenario is complete when all enemies in it are dead and the ice sheet has been destroyed. At the end of that round, read 77.3. Now remember, this is a linked mission. So as soon as I finish this mission, we're going to then start another. I'd have to check the rules real quick, but I think you start back at full health. But what happens though is you don't do an event because you don't go back home to Frosthaven. So that's the key thing that happens there. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. All I did was enter the room, and we still got to clear this room out. These scouts, you would think a scout doesn't have a lot of hit points, but these guys got like 12 each. And then this is an elite guard, which is going to have a whole bunch. So yeah, we got a lot going on here. But basically, as you recall, I have a 2 damage range attack, and I'm going to get to move something back. Now, the range attack doesn't use any of these markers, because this is melee only, but I will get to move this one back, so I got everything back to square one. And we will do the 2 damage range attack, and the one character that's in our range is this one right here. So let's grab a card. I drew a -1, so we just do a 1 damage attack against scout number 4, which is this dude, and that one right there. There we go. So 7 more to go against that one. Alright, it doesn't sound very exciting. In fact, it's not exciting at all. However, I actually want to do something. I am going to go all in, because we're in the final rooms. Remember, we start burning things. So this is Lucky Dice. This is a use once per mission. Treat the next 3 attack modifier cards as rolling. So I drew a -1. Now, I could possibly draw another -1, which makes it even worse. But let's do that. Look at that, -2. My gosh. So now I'm at -3, and then +0. So that was, my lucky dice weren't very lucky there. So now I really screwed up. I gotta go back. I gotta give him his health back. I thought I was doing something tricky and sneaky there. All I did was make my own situation worse. Okay, so that was the Drifter. The Drifter is at full health. It still has Regenerate. It'll probably lose it here because he'll probably be taking some damage. Next up are the Bone Shaper. So the skeletons are going to start moving. Oh, sorry, that's not a skeleton. This one's going to move 1, 2, and this one moves 1, 2, just like that. So both of those are done. And then I am going to move 4 there on the bottom. So let's move myself 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to loot. That's excellent. Excellent, excellent. So now let's move this back over here. This is actually a good spot. So the Bone Shaper is going to have 3 loot now. Alright, and then I'm going to summon another skeleton. So the Bone Shaper will drop down to 4 health, and then we will create a summon and get another Shambling Skeleton. And the new one is number 2. And I forgot to come in here, and so they have 3 health, 2 movement, 2 attack, and then this guy 1, 2, 3 health. My only gripe is, so I gotta put my hand here and I'm covering up this with my hand, right? And so I'm clicking the button and I can't see what it says. So 1, 2, now I'm over here and it's over there. There we go. Alright, that gave the Bone Shaper another experience point. So she's up to 4. 1 experience for each of these skeletons here. And yes, we got to get skeleton number 2 out, which I happen to have right here. And now this is interesting. I need a place to cast him, so he's going to be behind me. I can't put him in front because the skeletons are in the way. But that's okay. We got 3 of them. They're out, and they're ready to rock and roll. Next, after the Bone Shaper, is Blinkblade, who is at 4 health, but has regen, so goes up to 5. And Blinkblade, what were we going to do? We were going to heal. Oh, this is perfect. Heals himself and then everybody around him. +2 all. So, yeah, no, this works. This works. And then it says, at the end of your turn, play 1 card from your hand to immediately perform the top or bottom action for a time. But I don't have a time. I just used the last one. But Blinkblade will heal himself for 2, and everybody next to him, which includes the skeletons, they don't need to be healed, but the Bone Shaper does. So I was able to get the Bone Shaper back up to 6. Alright, and then the bottom part is, the top part is he can move 2 and then loot. And that was the part I wanted to do. So right here, he's going to move 1, 2. He doesn't necessarily have to go to that space, and he can just loot it with his loot command. And Blinkblade, Mr. Rapture here, now has 3 loots. 3 loots instead of 2 utes. Okay, so he's done. And then we have somewhere in here somebody was supposed to go. Did I miss it? Oh my gosh, the scouts and the guard were supposed to go after the drifter, which is fine because nobody else moved into the room. So I completely screwed the pooch on turn order here. Before the Bone Shaper went, these guys go. So the scouts are doing a cruel bow. They're going to move 3 spaces and then either do 1 or 2 damage, and they can't use equipment. So that's against the drifter. So what that means is I got to use my equipment now. So this guy, 3 range attack, can move to here, and then he's within range. He can hit the drifter. So what the drifter is going to do is he's going to use his equipment now. So he's going to use this to give them disadvantage. Alright, so this guy is going to try to do 2 damage to us. Here's the first one, -1. Second one, 0. So we'll take the -1. So he's going to try to do 1 damage to us. And then we're going to use our shield. So we're going to rotate that, and that's going to give us 1 shield. So we block all the damage, which is perfect. But as you may remember, the effects still occur. So that means the drifter here does not lose his regeneration because he didn't take damage, but he can't use equipment anymore, or at least for another turn. So he's got that little, it looks like a broken tooth, but it actually is a equipment bag. But we're not done. We got a whole bunch of scouts left to go. That was scout number 1. Scout number 2, which is way back here, he can move 3 spaces. So let's see, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3. He's out of range. So actually that scout can't shoot. But the other 2 can. So 4 and 5. 4 is not going to move. 5 is not going to move. They're both going to shoot, and they each do 1 damage to the drifter. Or they're going to potentially do. Let's do number 4 first. So there's 2 damage, and then number 5 misses, which is excellent. So overall, it's still averaged out to 1 damage each, but 2 damage for the drifter. 1, 2, and then that effect goes away. And of course, he's got the broken tooth. Alright, so that was all of them. And then I also forgot to take the turn of the guard. So you can see the guard's going to move 2 spaces and do a really high damage attack. But good news is there's nobody in range, so nothing happens. Okay, that was really good to survive that. Okay, that brings us to the end of the round. And I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Let's just hit the end of the round. I'll end the video here, and we will do one more video where we wrap this up. It's turning into like 3 videos per scenario. I don't know how to shorten this, folks. I mean, there's a lot going on. I think it just is what it is. So thanks for watching. Stay awesome.